Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever felt just a little bit lost in the world of investing? Well, today we're going to demystify one of its biggest and, honestly, most confusing areas, exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. And we're going to focus specifically on what's available for us right here in Europe.
And look, when I say it's a big area, I really mean it. That number you see, that's how many ETFs are available to European investors right now. 3,265. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed just looking at that, trust me, you are definitely not alone.
Right? It's a genuinely confusing landscape. It gets even more confusing when you realize that all those popular US ETFs you hear about online, like SPY, well, we can't even buy them here because of European regulations. So how do you find the right path? Well, let's start by looking at a very common trap that a lot of investors fall into.
When you start looking, it is so easy to get sucked in by a headline like this. Wow, a 354% gain over 5 years for a European banks ETF? I mean, that's a staggering number, and that little voice in your head immediately starts screaming, I need a piece of that action.
But here's the thing, and this is so important. This is a trap. That incredible return you just saw, it's already happened. It's in the rearview mirror. Jumping into a sector after it's had that kind of explosive growth, well, that's one of the fastest ways to lose money.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The research firm Morningstar has studied this for years. They've found that we, as investors, get all excited by the hype. We pile in when prices are already sky high, and then, almost inevitably, we panic and sell when the trend reverses. It's the classic, painful cycle of buying high and selling low.
And this slide just shows you the real-world impact of that behavior. Over a 10-year period, the sector funds themselves returned, on average, 9.6% a year. Pretty good, right? But the average investor in those exact same funds only made 7.0%. That massive gap. That's the price people pay for chasing performance.
So, if chasing hot trends is basically a losing game, what's the alternative? We need a smarter way to do this, a more disciplined approach. What we need is a simple framework that helps us make rational long-term decisions, one that lets us ignore all the hype and focus on what actually matters.
And the good news is, it's not that complicated. We can break it all down into a simple 4-step toolkit. If you can get your head around these 4 decisions, you'll be able to pick the right ETF for your goals with a ton of confidence. So, let's break down the first one.
Okay, first decision you've got to make is this. What do you want to happen with the dividends? The small profits paid out by the companies in the fund. An accumulating, or ACC ETF, automatically reinvests them for you. This is amazing for long-term growth, and it's usually more tax efficient. On the other hand, a distributing, or DIST ETF, pays those dividends out to you as cash, which might be what you want if you're looking for some regular income.
All right, next up, we need to talk about the ETF's domicile. Now, this just means the legal home base of the fund. And I know it sounds like a really boring detail, but when you're investing in U.S. stocks from over here in Europe, this decision has a direct and pretty significant impact on your returns.
And here's exactly why. There's a unique tax treaty between Ireland and the U.S. It means that ETFs based in Ireland only pay a 15% tax on dividends from U.S. stocks. Now, a fund based somewhere else, like Luxembourg, another popular spot, would pay double that, 30%. That 15% difference goes straight back into your pocket, into your returns. So yeah, for ETFs that hold a lot of U.S. stocks, choosing an Irish domicile is pretty much a no-brainer.
The third decision is all about how the ETF actually does its job of copying an index. Physical replication is the simple way. The fund literally just buys all the actual stocks. Easy to understand. Synthetic replication is a bit more complex. It uses financial contracts called swaps to get the same return. It can sometimes have tax advantages, but it does add an extra layer of complexity you need to be aware of.
And finally, our fourth and, you could argue, most important factor, cost. The total expense ratio, or TER, is the annual fee you pay. It gets automatically taken out of your investment. And these fees might look tiny, but believe me, over decades, even a fraction of a percent can have a huge, huge impact on how much money you end up with. The rule here is simple: lower is always better.
Okay, so that's the theory. But theory is boring, right? Let's make this practical. Let's put our new 4-step framework to the test and use it to pick between top ETFs for 2 of the most popular strategies out there, tracking the US S&P 500 and tracking a global all-world index.
Let's say you want to invest in the 500 biggest companies in the US. Our framework makes this super easy. First, notice they're all UCITF ETFs, so they're regulated for us here in Europe.
Next, check it out. They're all domiciled in Ireland, perfect for those US dividends. So it really comes down to cost, and that's where the SPDR ETF just stands out, with a ridiculously low 0.03% annual fee. To put that in perspective, that's just €3 a year for every 10,000 you invest.
Now, maybe you prefer a globally diversified, kind of one-and-done solution. An all-world ETF is a fantastic option for that. But it's really important to know what you're actually buying. As you can see here, because US companies are just so massive, they make up over 60% of a typical all-world index. So yeah, it's global, but it's global with a very, very heavy American accent.
So when we compare two of the most popular all-world ETFs, both accumulating, we can see they track slightly different global indexes but give you pretty similar exposure. So when we apply our framework, what's the key difference? You guessed it, cost. The Invesco fund with a TER of 0.15% is currently the cheaper way to build that core global portfolio.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you need to build your portfolio like an engineer, not a gambler. You've got to forget the hype about last year's winners. Use this simple 4-step framework to make logical, clear-headed choices. And above all, just focus relentlessly on the 2 things you can actually control: keeping your costs as low as possible and spreading your money out through broad diversification. And that brings us to this quote from the Nobel Prize winner Harry Markowitz, which just perfectly sums up the most powerful idea in all of investing. You don't get extra rewards for taking wild, concentrated bets. You get rewarded over the long term for spreading your risk across hundreds or thousands of different companies and economies. That really is the most reliable way to build wealth.
So there you have it. You now have a framework, a map and a compass to confidently find your way through the world of European ETFs. You can tune out the noise and focus on what's actually going to move the needle for your financial future. The path forward is so much clearer now. The only question is, where are you going to take that first step?